This is part 79 of ASP.NET MVC tutorial. In this video, we'll discuss areas in MVC. When we create a new ASP.NET MVC application, we get models, views, and controllers folders. And notice that these folders are present within the root directory of the project. Now, this structure of the project is fine for simple applications, but as our applications get bigger and complex, maintaining our models, views, and controllers can get complicated. The structure of such complex ASP.NET MVC applications can be very easily maintained using areas. Let's understand this with an example. Let's assume we are building a job portal site, and it's common for a typical job portal to have the areas that you can see here. It can have employee area, and maybe this functional area allows a job seeker to create their profile, upload resume, and perform job searches. And there could be employer area, and this functional area allows a job provider or an employer to create their profile, upload jobs, and search for suitable candidates. And in a similar fashion, we could have administrator area, and this functional area allows an administrator to configure the site and maintain it. Let's flip to Visual Studio and let's create these areas. Creating the areas itself is very straightforward. All you need to do is right click on the project name, add area, and then give your area a meaningful name. Let's add employee area. And look at that, the moment I do that, there is a folder called areas created, and within that we have employee folder. Okay, and within that employee folder we have a set of models, views, and controllers. Let's add another area, so I can right click on the areas folder, add area, and then add another area. Let's add employer area. And look at that, employer folder is added within areas, and I have another set of models, views, and controllers. Similarly, I can add another area, maybe admin area. Okay, look at that, there are three folders: admin, employee, and employer, all present in areas folder. And then each folder has got their own set of models, views, and controllers. And look at that, within each folder there is also a file called area registration.cs. In admin folder it's named as admin area, employee area registration, and employer area registration. Now if you look at the code inside this file, basically this is the code to register routes for this area. Look at that, anybody who wants to invoke URLs within this area, they will use this admin word / and then the name of the controller, name of the action method, and any parameters that they want to pass. Similarly for employee area, they use employee / and then the name of the controller, action, and parameters. Okay, so we have several areas here, and to register all these areas, when the application starts up within global.asax, look at that, we have this application_start event handler. So this gets invoked when the application starts, and look at this, we have a method call to register all areas, which is going to register all these areas at the start of the application. Alright, now let's go ahead and add a controller. First of all, let's add a controller in the root directory, in the main area. So let's right click on the controllers, add a controller, and let's call it home controller. So we are adding a home controller to the main area that's present within the root directory. Okay, so notice that we have an index action method there. And similarly, let's go ahead and add a controller to admin area, and let's again call it as home controller. Similarly, let's add a controller to the employee area, and let's call it again home controller. Look at that, now I can have home controller in each folder, and I can add home controller to the employer folder as well. Okay, now let's go ahead and add respective views as well. So let's go to the home the home controller that is present in the main area, and let's add a view, and let's call it index view. So this should be added to the home folder within the main area, and let's change this HTML there. Let's say h2 main area, let's call it home page. so that we know we are on the main area homepage. And similarly, let's go to admin area, home controller, add in index view. So that should be added to the home folder within views within admin area. And similarly, let's do the same thing with the home controller in employee area. And let's do the same thing for employer as well. Okay, and let's change the HTML in the respective views. So this is employer area homepage, and similarly let's change the HTML here and let's call this employee area homepage, and this one is admin area homepage. Okay, so let's go ahead and build our solution. Let's fire up the browser and let's try to navigate to localhost MVC demo. Look at that. I am not specifying. I am at the root of my project. Localhost is the server. MVC demo is the name of the project. But I haven't specified the name of the controller or the name of the area, nothing. I'm just at the root of my project, which means if we don't have areas, then this URL is going to invoke by default home controller and then the index action within the home controller. That's because within the global.asax file you have a call to register routes method. So if you go to definition on that, so this is routeconfig.cs, which is present in app_start folder. So that's the file. So here we have register routes method. Look at that. If we don't specify the name of the controller and the name of the action method, then it's going to use the home controller and index action. Okay, so it should try to navigate to this controller. Look at what's going to happen. Look at that. Look at the error. It says multiple types were found that match the controller name home. So if you remember, we added home controller to all our areas: admin, employee, employer, and there is a home controller in the main area as well. So that's what it's saying. There are multiple types that were named home. Okay, so in all these areas, so it has a confusion which one to pick. Okay, so now to fix this error, all we need to do is look at this routes.maproute function. This function has got several overloaded versions. So I am going to use an overloaded version where we can specify the namespace as well. Look at that. There is one overloaded version. We can specify namespaces, and look at that. The namespaces, it is expecting the namespaces in the form of a string array. Okay, so we need to specify the namespaces. So namespaces, that's a named parameter, so you have to use the name of the parameter, and then we need to pass a string array. So you can either say new string and then pass the namespace name as a string, or I can simply say new and then pass the namespace name. Now this home controller in the main area, so within this the controllers folder in the main area, and that's the home controller. And what is the namespace within which this home controller is present? mvcdemo.controllers. So pick up that and then pass it here. Okay, so let's go ahead and build this. Now let's refresh this and see what's going to happen. Look at that, we are on the main area homepage. Now if I give something like this, employee, now that means we want to go to the employee area. So within employee area, so this is the employee area folder, and within that we have employee area registration.cs file. So this route will be used, and notice that here within this register area function we are specifying the action method name. The default is index action. So if we don't specify an action method name, then it's going to invoke index action. But then here we are not specifying the controller name as well. So if I don't specify the controller name, we haven't specified a default for the controller. So when I am going to visit this, we get an error that is source cannot be found, and that's understandable because you didn't tell me which controller you want. So by default, it throws that error, and to fix that, all you need to do is specify the default controller for employee area. So what is that going to be? That's going to be home. Let's build our solution. Let's put a comma there and build our solution. Let's refresh this view. And now we should be able to navigate to home, index action within the home controller of employee area. But then we get a compilation error, and this is totally unrelated error. And if you do get this error, all you need to do is you need to run this command. Okay, and where do we need to run this command? Open Visual Studio, click on Tools, Library Package Manager, and there is something called Package Manager Console. And within that console window, type that command. So basically we are installing a package for that Microsoft.web.optimization. So press enter. So it should install that. So it's attempting to resolve dependency. Alright, so it successfully installed that. Now let's build our solution. And let's refresh this. So we should arrive at the index action of the home controller in employee area. Look at that. So it works as expected. Alright, now let's provide some links. So I want to be able to look at that from the employee area. So at the moment we are in the home controller, and index action of employee area. So that's employee area homepage. Now let's say from this I want to go back to the homepage, the main homepage. So we want to provide a link there. So let's go back to employee area, and that's the index view. So let's provide a link, and to provide links we can use action link HTML helper. Let's actually create a table. Let's create a table row. Let's actually set border for the table of 1, and then let's include a TD here. So let's include links for all the areas. Okay, so we have 4 TDs, TRs. Let's have another TR. So here let's say we want a text which says maybe something like links. Now we want to have a link to the main area. So how do we do that? HTML.action, and I want to go to the main area homepage. So I'm going to use action link HTML helper, and then the first parameter is the link text. So let's say main area homepage, and then obviously which action method you want to invoke. I want to invoke the index action within a controller. So I'm going to use this overloaded version. So within which controller you want to invoke the index action? Within the home controller. Okay, so now let's do the same thing here. So I want to go to employee area homepage, and again within employee area we want to invoke the index action of the home controller. Okay, so let's do that for employer as well, and similarly let's do it for admin area. Okay, so let's build this, and let's refresh this view. So we should get the links. So we are currently on the index action of the home controller of employee area. Now I want to go to main area homepage. Now look at what's going to happen. I am still in employee area homepage. Okay, so I didn't go to the main area homepage. since we are in a different area now, if you want to go to a different area, then you will have to specify the area name as well when we build these action links. So from the employee area, I want to go to main area, and if you look at our structure, the main area within our project doesn't have any name. Okay, so we simply specify a blank string as the name of the area. Okay, so this action link, again, this action link HTML helper, it has got several overloaded versions. I'm going to use an overloaded version where we can specify area name as an anonymous type. So new area. So I'm going to give an empty string. So that takes us back to the main area homepage. And similarly, and then there is another parameter that we need to pass, null. So let's copy. And then if I want to go to employee homepage, then the name of the area is employee. Let's copy this entire stuff and then do the same thing for the other links. So here the area name is going to be employer. And finally we want to go to the admin area. So here the name is going to be admin. Okay, so let's take this HTML and put it in other views as well. So let's put it in the admin view. Employer view. And the view that's present in the main area. Alright, let's save everything. Let's build the solution. And let's go. Let's click on this one. Okay, so we should now go to the main area homepage. Okay, look at that. Now we are on the main area homepage. Let's try to go to employer area homepage. Look at that. We are now able to navigate between areas. Alright. So in short, areas are introduced in ASP.NET MVC2 that allow us to break down a large complex application into several small sections called areas, and each area can have its own models, views, controllers, and routes. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.